Let's see if it works. No, it does not. Welcome to the 1000 Hour Challenge, a series where I will spend 1000 hours learning a skill of my choosing. My deadline is 2 years, and when 900 hours have passed, the last 100 will be spent on utilizing what I've learned to create something special. Hello, it's the 5th week, and this week I've been doing some really cool stuff. And I've been doing Android Studio the entire week and just tweaking one single program. I started out with a tic-tac-toe game, but it didn't really go as I planned, so I was moving on to the next thing and realized that Android Studio isn't as hard as I thought. I mean, without any prior knowledge, it's probably really hard, but since I've already done some Java, and particularly when I did Java FX, I realized that it isn't that hard, to be honest. The Chambers of Xerix game that I was doing, or the calculator or drop table or whatever I did last week, has been super easy to translate and make it function in an app. So I really think that I'm making some great progress here. Instead of just watching random videos of how to develop skills and how to learn Android Studio, for example, instead I'm just creating stuff now, and it makes for much better content, and at the same time I can actually show you guys what I'm actually learning and what I'm doing firsthand. I used to think Android Studio was really hard, and I'm guessing it probably still is, but I've learned some of the ropes and I have some of that background knowledge that I can bring with me to Android Studio, and it's really easy now to get a hold of things and slowly and steadily develop my path forward. But I think you're really gonna enjoy this episode. Without further ado, let's get into it. Hello, this is the start of the 5th week's video, and I think that I am done doing this tic-tac-toe game now because I've been working for 3 days straight with it, and I don't seem to get a solution that I'm satisfied with. This is how it looks right now. You can press, for example, A1, A2, and this is taking data from an array. So there's nothing weird here. However, it crashes when I try to make it interactive, so in the sense that it would fill in X and O's here. I translated a lot from the previous code. As you can see, the game solved array still looks the same, and I translated a lot from it. But when I press the button, I don't really know how to. I'll explain what I mean. Like, to fill in this, so this is an empty array like right now, like it's a table, a grid pane, and it's supposed to update this, but I can't seem to get it working as I like because I can't get it so it would update. So I think I'm gonna give up. I got it working for the last time, like the last program that I made, the drop table. But now when I try to remove and add it again, it just crashes. I put this inside comments because I was trying to figure out which would crash the program here. I think it's this that crashes the program. But anyways, I think I'm going to move on to creating some Android stuff now because I'm getting tired and sick of this stupid program. So I'm here in Android Studio now, and I think I'm going to try to translate what I made in JavaFX with the drop table to an actual app. I think this will be easy enough to start out with because I already got all the Java code behind me. I just need to translate it somehow. Yeah, let's see how it goes. Oh my god, this is so much fun. Like, to create something, like, look at this. It didn't take me that much time to create this, and before, when I tried to learn Android and I didn't realize anything of what I was doing, I didn't understand anything about Android Studio, and this was only like 1 or 2 weeks ago. From going from there to here in that short amount of time, I think it's so much fun. Look at this, it's working now. I roll the table and it updates. Okay, so if I try to explain what I've been doing, basically it's just been a lot of copying and pasting from the last program, except I did a few extra things. I learned how to create an array of text views, and this is just finding the ID, these things, and basically what I did, except just for copy pasting, is I had to create an on-click listener. I have no idea what listening does so far yet, but I guess I'm gonna have to look into that. So I have to just point out a kind of embarrassing thing I did. I forgot to put the curly bracers in, so all of this was outside the for function. It ended like right here, and of course when I gets more than 12, it goes outside the array, because this is 12 large, and the 12th is just the \n. If you know anything about coding, you understand what I mean. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter. So it tried, basically, if I have to explain for someone who doesn't code, it's just that it goes outside of these ones, and it just crashed the program every time I tried to start it. But I figured out it was a really easy mistake. It didn't come up as a problem because it isn't a problem in the code. It's just when you try to run it that it crashes. But to get it running in such a short time, I think that's amazing. I think I just have to add the rest of the functionality here. And yeah, I guess this is the beginning of the second stage of my series, and from here I guess I'll just learn how to create apps and make them as amazing and in-depth as possible. It's a few minutes later, and I added a few functionalities to the app. I added, for example, this button, clear table, like in the last one. I added some functionality to this, so now it works. So if I want to roll 20 times, it works. Yeah, pretty neat. However, it kind of crashes if I do, for example, 200,000. Or it doesn't crash, but it takes a long while for it to to work. So I think I have to put like a limit on 10,000 or something like that. But anyways, you can now clear the table and roll multiple times. It's really nice. One thing I really struggled with in the beginning was that I knew how to do all this and design it, but I didn't know how to add functionality, and I thought it was really hard to add functionality. Because right now, like, if you wouldn't add the Java behind it, it would just be buttons that you could press and nothing would ever happen. But with the prior Java knowledge I had, I found it really easy to just make a new button and find it by ID and stuff like that. It's still a bit different from just regular Java creating, but I think it's much more simple to get into if you have a good base with Java to begin with. So I couldn't be more confident than when I say you should really start doing Java, and after that you should move on to Android Studio. Because if you did like I did a few weeks ago and started out with Android Studio without knowing anything about Java, it's just gonna become a mess and you're not gonna understand anything. The next project in my app, I'm trying to figure out how to get a percentage working, and it's not working very well right now. As you can see here, it's just at 1. I'd like it to have it at about, like, it's supposed to be at 100% here, right? And I don't really know how to figure it out. It's probably something stupid like time it times 100 or something like that. But this is how it looks right now. I just made a new array. It looks really a new function. I mean, it looks really similar to this one. The only exception is that I'm trying to put it into a new text string like this one, but it's not working out as I'd like it. I'm trying to run some simple debugging here, but I'm not really sure what I'm doing wrong, but I guess it's just a stupid error, and yeah, I guess I'm gonna come back to it when I know how to do it. Well, looks like I found the problem. Apparently it was because I was doing division with integers instead of doubles. I had no idea that you can't divide two integers for them to become a double. Yeah, it's just so stupid, but I guess you have to do it like that. So I changed just like temp count and percent to doubles, and now it works flawlessly. I still have some tweaking to do, obviously, and this is how it looks. Like this still doesn't reset, but I have to do this first, so I have to update the clear table button, and at the same time I need to take away the decimals because they are just unnecessary. But other than that, I think this looks pretty neat, and I finally got it to work as I wanted it to, and now it's just on to the next tweaking, I guess. I also realized that this is completely redundant, so I don't have to use this because, of course, instead of adding with the plus sign, you have an equal sign, so there's no point in having that. Makes for a little bit prettier code. I also just realized that I can go back to the old, how it used to look like when it looked like this. Oh shit. How do I go back? Ah, thank God. Like this. Oh my God. I'm way too tired for this. What am I doing? There we go. Exactly what I planned. Okay, I think I got it to work as I wanted to now. Basically, I changed the decimals because I thought they were really ugly. So I made a quick Google search and I found this function. So I removed the last thing I had here and I changed it to string equals string.format and with 0 decimals and the double, which is percent. And it's really useful because now this is how it looks. I've added functionality so you can add, for example, 500 here and you still get the percentages. That was just a quick, setting the table, and this is how it looks now, and it's so much cleaner. It looks so much better without the decimals, and yeah, I think I think this looks really professional, to be honest. And I also added functionality to the clear table. This was really easy. Before, if I just put in the percentage updater, it would say NaN here, but instead I changed it, so I made a percentage clear function which just sets everything to 0, and if I for example roll multiple again, it gets updated as intended. So I think this looks really professional and I really like it because yeah, I mean it's just easy to see now. It's the end of the week now, so I would like to go over all the things with the program. This is the finished result for this week. I don't think I have time to implement more functions, and to be honest, I'm not really sure what I should implement. Maybe add some more functionality, just play around a little bit with it. But anyways, here is the finished code for now. Much of it is just translated from my JavaFX program that I made. Except for that, I had to make a few more functions, like the percentage updater. The percentage updater is just the drop array, the text view, the percentage counter. So basically, when you put anything into it, it will automatically update from up here. For example, when I press the clear table, or let me start with this actually. So when I press the roll button, first it rolls the drop table, which is similar exactly, actually it's exactly like it was from the other program I had. And the drop updater, I've just updated the drops. It's much easier when you're doing an app because it's always listening pretty much, so I don't have to clear the table and update it again because it's always listening and it's always updating, which is super convenient for me. The percentage updater is just a new function I made to calculate the percentages. So once it has updated here, it goes into percentage updater, and here you get the drop arrays, and they get the drops, and they will get all the times. And once it's done doing that, it's going to output this. So for example, when I got the drop array get times drop, the count here, it will move on to the next thing and update this. Actually, you know what? I think I realized I don't have to use 2 for loops because it's gonna roll through everything anyways. So I think this is just extra unnecessary code. So let me fix that real quick. Let's see if it works. No, it does not. So here it's just calculating the total amount of what has been dropped so far, and here it calculates which percentage of it that is supposed to be put. For example, if I press roll table, of course I have to first apply the changes because I removed the for loop. I thought these were necessary, but then I realized that they are actually very necessary. Okay, so 100%, 50%, and yeah, it works as intended now, and it's really good, if I have to say it for myself. So if you want to clear the table, I had to make another function here, and it's called percentage clear. So basically what it does is that it converts everything into just plain text, because if I wouldn't have this, if I just would use the percentage updater, everything here would be called NaN. But yeah, it's just really simple, to be honest. I haven't done much, but I have learned a lot. I've learned how to create all these arrays of text, which makes it much easier when I run it through a for loop in the future. I can just insert this to I, and this is just ID, like TV. TV stands for text view, so text view ID 0 counter and so forth. Basically, it wasn't that much different to move on to Android Studio, because the only thing I had to do is to implement the find view by ID. So this is the XML file. This is how it looks like. This is where I make everything look nice, and then I just add functionalities in it in the main activity, and I add a link between them, like here. So in order to change the, for example, percentage counter, I first have to find it in the XML file, and I do this by doing this. And the same thing with the buttons. They are assigned here. So after I've first assigned them and linked them together, I can then make functionalities for them. And I think this is really convenient, and it's not that hard as I thought in the beginning when I tried to make Android Studio work. And just by making an app and like adding functionality to it, I can just Google what I want to know instead of just watching random videos. So like that is so convenient for me. So let's talk about the spreadsheet. So far I have put in 35.5 hours, and I'm currently at level 3. The checklist hasn't really changed much. I have not yet taken the time to complete all of these. I have no idea what I did there. Anyways, this and from here is what I've been doing this week. And Android Studio is fine. XML is just the how the app is looking. Linking XML to Java code, that's just the functionality for when you see something. For example, when the table I had to make that dynamically working and update it, and you know, when I press something on the app, that it actually does something. Emulators, I think I'm done with, because I've created an emulator that perfectly emulates the Android screen that I use myself. I use for a moment I use a 1+3. I know it's ancient, but I still like it. And updating the screen in Android Studio, that's just when I press the button that it updates the table. It's not really much to work with here. It's super easy to do it. Everything is listening at all times, like I said, so there's not much you can do at this point. Hopefully in the future you won't be looking at this spreadsheet, but you will be looking at the app or something similar. The best in both worlds, I think, would be if I have an app that communicates with this spreadsheet. So this I can update it directly from my app and then translate it directly to the time tracker. With that I mean like updating the table, like reading the data that is from this website into the app. But I think that is pretty advanced for me, and I'm not sure that I can be able to do it. So moving forward, as you probably noticed, my introduction was really brief this time, and now I'd like to keep it at a minimum in the beginning and then go into details in the end instead. That way I won't spoil anything in advance. So moving forward, the Chambers of Xerix is looking still almost finished, I think. I don't think I can do much more with the knowledge I have at the moment. I'm going to try make some different apps, make some screens where you can, for example, press a button and move to the next screen and do something there and then go back. You probably already know about my spreadsheet. I have it at the end of every video where I track my time and how much time I've spent. But having it separate from where I actually track my time, which is my cell phone, you probably see where this is going, I would like to create an app for it. That would be a really good way of showing that I actually can do something useful with my stuff and something that is really personalized. I would also like to publish the Chambers of Xerix on the App Store when I get better at coding. So I'm probably gonna leave it as it is right now and then come back in it in a while when I'm much better at creating apps. Probably get it verified and stuff like that, and then put it out on the App Store for you guys to test out. It's nothing amazing right now. I mean, I've already showed you, and there's not much more you can do with it. But in the future, when I can publish my own stuff, I would like to publish everything I've done, just to get a sense of, okay, here is where he was right at that point, and this is where he has moved since. Just to get something that you can download and see for yourselves. Except for that, I would like to create another app now. I would like to create maybe not the time tracker, but something else that is more like a learning experience, something that maybe not be that useful, but just to get the sense of things and how it works and how different screens communicate with each other. So that is what I would like to do for next week. And another positive thing is that, or I don't know if it's positive or not, but I'm not having as much work for this month, so I will be able to work much more with Java and possibly or hopefully make up for the time that I've lost so far, to at least get it back on track, and in the perfect world get a little bit ahead so I can have some swing room in the future. So that was everything I had for this week. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next week.